I was thinking of starting with like a song as we did on the last the Full Fat podcast, but then the only thing I could think of that had Lockdown in it was Love Lockdown by Kanye West. I thought that might be a bit David Brent if I try and sing that. So what do you think, Charlie?
I think you should definitely do it.
Should we do it?
Yeah, because you never know.
Love Lockdown. Was that as Brent as you thought?
To be fair, mate, you sound like you had the voice of an angel. So
really,
I actually found it quite soothing. I'd do some more.
Really, it was like Mr. West is in the room.
Yeah,
really?
Just like here.
How you doing?
I'm good, actually. Well, I'm. It's kind of weird to talk about this because obviously we've been.
We feel a bit rusty, don't we?
Yeah.
We weren't really sure how to do an intro. It's been so long. Both for you on Your Favourite Film Was Awful, and for me on the Full Fat podcast. But today we're having a meeting of minds, if you will, a collab. Basically we've been living together in lockdown since, what was it, when did it start in the UK? The very end of March, or like the last week of March. And we've been watching a lot of films together, so we thought this week we'd list them all off and talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. We watched quite a lot of films, didn't we? About 39, I think?
Well...
And that's just together. We watched a few other tiny ones.
Technically, actually 40, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And that's just together. Just show how sad we are.
Such sad men.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Shall we begin?
Yes, we shall. Just to let everyone know quickly, if you're looking, I've had a few people message me about the Your Favourite Film Was Awful podcast when it's coming back. Obviously, we don't know too much.
Sorry. I tried to move his mic so the pop shield was fully covering his mouth, and it just completely moved. Do you think we'll cut this out, or do you think we'll leave it in?
I don't know, we'll see how it goes.
We'll let people see how the sausage is made.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's what it's all about. They want to see our failings as much as our successes. So I forgot my train of thought. Shit.
Sorry, mate. I'm not really thinking straight right now because I farted and it was eggy as hell. Like, honestly, it's gonna travel over to you to the other side of the table any second now.
Can't wait. Excited. I'm looking forward to it.
This is already the worst podcast episode ever.
Your favourite podcast is awful. Is that what we do? But yeah,
I'm no Luke, am I? And you're no Chris.
No. It just doesn't work, does it? But as I was saying, the podcast is coming back, and we'll be doing it as soon as like things are starting to open. It seems like soon. And me and Luke are probably going to start off by doing some episodes with just each other before we start getting the guests, because obviously it's a bit tough at the moment.
It is,
in terms of
getting people into houses and stuff.
But yeah, just to assure people that it will be coming back soon. So
the same for me and Chris on the Full Fat podcast. As soon as we're reunited again, I think battle will commence. So yeah, should we dive in? And I actually can't remember where we kind of started with. Are you going?
Should we go in order?
I think that would be cool. Yeah, let's go from the start of lockdown because we'll sort of rekindle the memories, won't we?
All right, we'll do that. That sounds good. Right. So I'm pretty sure we kicked off the lockdown with a wonderful movie, I believe. And that is Brawl in Cell Block 99.
Fantastic. I thought it would be that. Although I couldn't remember if that technically was pre-Bojo's lockdown or if it was post, but I think it was the same night, wasn't it?
I think it was like literally the night before, so I was like, we'll put it in.
We started watching it. You'd seen it before, hadn't you?
Yeah, I'd seen it before, yeah.
We started watching it a few days before, and then I fell asleep, which you might find as a running trend of this list.
That is actually true.
So we watched it again. What did you think? The second time you've seen it?
Yeah, so I went to see it originally at the Prince Charles Cinema. I can't remember the reason why. I think someone recommended it to me and said, "Oh, you really like this movie."
Yeah. You like Brawls and Cell Blocks.
I do, and Vince Vaughn. So it was a bit of me. And yeah, I think I see the poster and I was like, "Well, that looks like an exploitation movie." I don't know, it was really cool. Like, I don't know, like very genre heavy. So I was like, let's check that out. And then I heard it was by the guy who did Bone Tomahawk, which I really liked.
Yeah.
So I went to see it with a friend, and I was blown away, particularly by Vince Vaughn's performance. It's never like I had anything against Vince Vaughn. I always knew he was a good actor, but to see him in such a physical role was...
He didn't seem like I was watching Vince Vaughn at all, and I think it was particularly after we were very hyped, weren't we, for the second season of True Detective, because we thought we were going to get something different from Vince Vaughn, and I think it really underwhelmed. This felt like what was promised from True Detective season 2, like this is Vince Vaughn as you've never seen him before. Felt kind of like his Uncut Gems.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Definitely. It did feel like that in a weird way. And it's funny you mentioned that because I feel like the character he plays, I kept thinking about the character he plays in True Detective. Yeah. And I kept thinking about, obviously, the character he plays in Brawl. Yeah. And the more I was looking at them, I was like, he would have made like a good Kingpin. I feel like in a Spider-Man movie. I was like, I don't know why I never thought about that, but because he's quite slim, but I was thinking he'd be a really good.
He would be incredible.
Because he is pretty terrifying in this movie. Because you forget how big of a man Vince Vaughn is. Yeah. And you don't really, you never really think of him as someone that could, give you a good clobberer.
I don't know to what degree he trained before this movie, or if he just trained for this movie.
I think he did some boxing training and stuff.
Okay, because the fights in this are really well done.
Really well done.
But even when at the start when he's, we should say by the way, full spoilers for every single.
Yes,
movie we're going to.
I do apologise.
When he starts bashing up the car at the start. Like, I'm pretty sure the director just let him go
he
wild,
did
didn't
that.
he? Yeah.
So he actually smashed the car up. And it's pretty terrifying to watch this giant man just fucking put his fist through some.
Imagine if that wing mirror was your face.
Oh my god, it's crazy. But yeah, like I was shocked by how the fight scenes were sort of choreographed. You could see everything, which is always a plus for me. But also, I was shocked with how good some of the dialogue was, and just the idea in general. I think I really liked the concept.
The setup of his wife being captured, and she's gonna be forced to lose her baby if he doesn't get down to this. Like, I was reading it's kind of based on Dante's Inferno, where it's like going into the is it the Seven Rings of Hell? Yeah, and once you read that, you're like, oh my god, it totally is, because it just feels like. The further and further you get into this movie, the more and more fucked he is. Yes. And you're just thinking, how the hell is he going to pull this off? Not even survive, just pull this off. I think you realise fairly early on, this is a one-way trip, don't you? No, and the further he's going,
And and that kind of adds to the tension of it. You're like, oh man, he's more fucked than you realise. Yeah. And I just like the idea that I like the idea that he has to fucking put himself in this. He has to fuck himself. He has to put himself in this horrible position in the worst prison possible to get to this guy, to get him to stop. Obviously,
and I think they do a really good job of making you care about that husband-wife relationship. So you really do want her to survive. You want her to be okay, and you want him to succeed. Yeah. Also, I just love the idea that it's essentially like an assassination movie, except because he's got to get to a prisoner. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, how can I go into this yard and start a fight so that I can get into the next level of hell? It's just so good.
It's so good. But I think what I love about it in particular is it has all this this very sort of almost macho kind of, I've got to beat down all these prisoners to get to this place. Yeah. There is this real sort of emotional element, and of times where he just breaks down, and I think that's what really made the film sort of special for me, because I was like, they feel like real people. Yeah. As much as there's this extreme violence going on, that's crazy over the top sort of thing. Yeah. But they do feel like real people. Particularly the way it sets up with their relationships, not great. Yeah. They're not the most they're morally complex characters themselves as well. So it's this. I just find it a very interesting. Just the characters of work in general, I thought was brilliant. And there's a moment in particular, I think you know what I'm talking about, where he sort of breaks down on the phone and has this really sweet moment. Yeah. And towards the end of the movie, and it gets to me because you just know it's the first time you get to see him really embrace the situation he's in. Yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. He accepts his fate, doesn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I'd be well up for watching it again.
Oh, 100%.
I know you'd be watching. You'd be up for watching anything, wouldn't you, Mr. Charlie? Martin Scorsese's just released this video of paint drying.
Wait, where? Fantastic. Should we go to the next?
I think we shall. Yeah.
The next film that we watched. Funny enough, I think the next movie we watched together after that was Rogue One.
Really?
Yeah, which is crazy.
That makes sense, yeah, because I think it was the first weekend of lockdown, wasn't it?
Yep.
We hadn't seen The Mandalorian in its entirety, so we sat down, we binged all of that. I was working on a Rogue One essay, wasn't I? And I think I said to you, I need to rewatch it. And we hadn't seen it since the cinema, and we hated it at the time. So we thought we'd give it another go, didn't we? And, just see, maybe after all this time, we'll feel differently about it. Did we feel differently about it?
Well, we got ourselves hyped up for it and excited. And then, I'm sorry to say, but as soon as the film started, we kind of went, oh, it's just how we remembered.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people hate us for that, because I know there's a lot of Rogue One lovers out there.
I just don't get it.
I really don't get it. And I've tried, and we really did try that time. Really I actually I actually hyped myself up for it. I was really willing to love it. Like, I was trying to love it.
I think the concept is bland. I don't get the need for a story that is told in a sentence from episode 4. I don't need to know who got the plans, but failing all that, right? I don't find it interesting as a concept, but you can still make a good movie out of it. For me, it falls down completely on the fact there's no characters. And I don't care about anyone. So it doesn't matter that, like, I've seen people say, like, oh, but the battle at the end's so good, so well done. I'm like, yeah, but I don't care about anyone. And I don't care when anyone dies. And that, for me, is like, it's a fundamental, basic part of storytelling that needs to be there. I need to care about the people that are driving the story. And, for that reason, I think Rogue One will never go beyond me watching it and feeling absolutely nothing.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Like, I really struggle with... If a film doesn't have characters that I'm connected to, or... they don't just feel like mouths for your plot, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Then I really struggle to be engaged. Yeah. I'm a character over plot guy. You can give me a film where there's no plot but great characters, and I could watch it for hours.
Well, I think we'll be getting to one of those, won't we?
We will get on to one of those. But yeah, if the what a banger. But yeah, no, like I think that's my main issue with it. Like, yeah, I think some of the cinematography is lovely, and it and I think some of the ideas are great, and there's some individual sections that are good in the movie, like scenes.
Like Vader chopping up dudes.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when we saw it at the midnight and we were watching it, like, just our hearts were just slowly getting broken because it was so shite. And then at the end, when Vader popped up, you just loudly were like, "Where's this been?" Like, it just came out. Like, you couldn't help it. And it was awesome, but it's not enough.
No,
it's not enough.
It was... Yeah, no, and the fact that it was like a reshoot thing as well makes it even more weird.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it ending without that?
Yeah, no.
It'd be even worse.
No, yeah. But yeah, let's go move on, because I don't like shitting on. We've done enough shitting on Star Wars over the.
We have.
As much as we, even though we're massive fans, but we're gonna get to the next one that we watched.
Well, this is where, if you liked Rogue One and you felt like we were being contrarian, you're gonna really hate us.
You're gonna really hate us now. You're gonna really hate us now, because after that we watched Solo: A Star Wars Story,
which was fantastic.
Brilliant.
It's still fantastic.
I think it's so much fun.
Yeah. For the very same reason that I don't like Rogue One. Like, it's got characters.
Yep.
I care about Lando. I think Alden Ehrenreich, he's a great young Han Solo.
And can we talk about how anti this movie was before it came out?
Yeah.
Because I think that's important.
Yeah.
Like, me and you were like, we didn't want this movie at all. Like, we was like, we were more excited almost for Rogue One than Solo, because we were like, you can't do what Harrison Ford did. You can't do it. And I think that's why we were so pleasantly surprised.
Oh, fantastic! Like, there's so many good there's so many good set pieces, and I think I don't need a Han Solo origin story. And there's some moments, obviously, like when he finds his name and stuff that are hokey.
Yes, I agree.
But the bits that do work, I think, really work. Like, I like that he's pining after this woman that isn't right for him, and like, he doesn't see that because he's that young Han Solo, and you can tell he's getting further and further into this mess, but he's going to do anything for her. And you see that relationship with Chewbacca forming. You see, what's the guy's name? What's Woody Harrelson's character's name? It's completely escaped me.
Oh no,
Beckett.
Yep, that's it.
He's his relationship with him is fantastic, and I love that he teaches him everything he needs to know. And then at the end, he has a standoff with him and he kills him.
He shoots first.
Yeah.
It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Like, a fundamental understanding of Star Wars.
Yeah. And all the characters, and what I like about it is that the characters he's surrounded with really give you a sort of sense of the person that he grows to become.
Yeah.
Like Beckett, his influence on him. And again, that comes down to, it's like we saying, the characters. All the side characters in this movie, I think, are great.
Oh, John Favreau's Alien.
Brilliant.
Wonderful.
No, all of it. And it's funny because I went into this movie thinking that, Donald Glover as Lando was going to be my show stealer. And don't get me wrong, he's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he's got the charisma on fucking command. Mate. He's literally fantastic. But all in all, right, surprised me the most. Like, he was really good. I
remember when we saw it in the cinema, there was that moment where he does the Harrison Ford finger point. It's when he's in the war zone, isn't he? He's talking to Beckett, and we both looked at each other like, oh, that was Han Solo. That was pure, unfiltered Solo.
At the same time, I don't think we said anything. I think we just gave each other a
Oh,
look.
no, yeah, it was just a look. Just a look. Just a look of like, that was fucking great.
Literally. The set pieces are great. And we're also talking, we need to talk about... We need to talk about one of our favourite things in the movie, which is our boy...
Mr. Dryden Voss.
Mr. Dryden Voss.
A.K.A. Paul Bettany. Fantastic. And he's the perfect villain for a Han Solo movie because he's not like a Sith Lord who's waxing lyrical about, all these different mystical elements. He's just a businessman. He's the perfect counterweight to Han Solo. Yep. And I love that. I love how small the finale goes. I love that we have the Kessel Run, which, by the way, I never thought I'd need to see the Kessel Run.
No.
But I've seen it now, and that to me is exactly what the Kessel Run is.
No,
when I think of it and when I hear it in New Hope, that's what happened. It's a fantastic set piece. And then after that, we get him having a little fist fight with Dryden Voss, and it's just small and intimate. And when they have that switch over, and he's like, oh, it's just like the real thing. Oh, that's because it is. No, I'm saying I believe you. It's that good.
It's that good. It's so good. And I love that he's just as charismatic as Han. Like, and it's like you said, it's the perfect villain for him to go against. Like this like charismatic gangster who like mugs him off just as much as he's mugging him off. It's like that's perfect to me.
This is my top lieutenant.
Fantastic. So Solo, great movie. Really enjoy it. Really good fun. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I have problems with it. We have problems with some of the origin stuff that they do with Han Solo's name. And
we're gonna have to have a new nickname for you, Chewbacca. That stuff, but doesn't really play. But
I can delete it because I think the rest of the movie is so much fun.
I think considering what a train wreck it could have been.
Yes.
I also think it does capture the feeling of a George Lucas Star Wars movie.
100%. But I think that's from the professionalism of Ron Howard. I think he's... And as much as people were annoyed that Phil and Lord Miller left the project, I think we have to give credit to Ron Howard for stepping in, and it seems like... I feel like he's made a really solid movie here.
I'm sad that we'll never get a sequel.
Yeah, I actually am, yeah.
At least give us a Disney Plus series.
Yeah. No, I agree. And the next movie we watched was a movie that I was very, very excited to show you, Matt. This one is one I've been wanting to get you to watch, and I feel like it delivered. And we're
off the deep end here. I can't remember where we were at this point. Yeah, we're in April now, aren't we?
We are.
At some point in April.
No, we're not actually. We're still in March.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're still in March.
Okay.
We watched Catherine Bigelow's Near Dark.
It's a bingo. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant.
It's like if you took the sensibilities of the Terminator movies but did it with vampires.
Yep.
Bill Paxton's phenomenal in it.
When is he
Adrian Pastel's great in it as well.
So good.
I really enjoyed that. I think it's a really... Obviously, it's an older movie. I hadn't seen it before, but it felt like a really fresh take on almost like a Twilight-y love story. Because I think the love story in it is central. It's really sweet. And I like that it kind of makes it feel like all the vampires are going to be nasty at the start of the movie, but at the same time it's going to be about his descent into becoming one of them. And then I like that it kind of sort of towards the midpoint I'm like, oh no, it's actually going to be about the guy and the girl splitting off and sort of rebelling against Bill Paxton and these fucking freakish vampires. The little kid is the creepiest
it's
one.
Horrifying. I think this is probably... I need to really think about it, but I think this is probably my favourite vampire movie. And I think for that reason, it's just because of the ideas, the concepts in it. I love the idea that... I forgot his name. The older...
Lance Henriksen?
I think it's Lance Henriksen. I love the idea...
I think the closer we get to the end, it's going to be easier to talk about these movies. Some of these, I'm struggling to remember. Like,
no, it was a while ago. Yeah.
And also, like, lockdown has just been such a weird bubble of time, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I feel like simultaneously this was yesterday. We're talking about this movie, and also forever ago.
No, it's so true. It's so true. But yeah, no, I love the concept of, he was bitten by a vampire during the Civil War. Was it Civil War?
Yes, yeah.
So he still dresses almost like a cowboy.
Yeah. They're all from different time periods.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good idea. Particularly, like you said, the little kid, the fact that this person's like over 100 years old or whatever. And it's
kind of a darker version of that same concept in Twilight, because I think Edward Cullen's 17, isn't he? Or he looks 17, but he's obviously got the experience of a wiser older person, because he's like, I think he's like 100 years old or whatever.
Something like that.
And it's the exact same thing with a kid, except they've obviously aged them down even more to the point where it's like that would be a fate worse than death, wouldn't it? To never grow 100%. Up and to always be perceived as a child, even though you've got all this life experience and you're a murderer as well.
Yeah, so, it's horrible, horrible. So that was Near Dark. Fantastic.
I loved it.
It's weird because I feel like we could talk about these movies like forever, but we have a lot of films to go through.
I mean, mate, this has already been 20 minutes. We've barely scratched the surface.
We've barely scratched the surface. And then after that, this is a film discovery that we had, and what a treat it was, because we both hadn't seen this. The Invitation.
Oh my God, The Invitation.
Believe it.
It's fantastic.
So good.
It's absolutely fantastic. I was shocked at how good it was.
No, same.
Also, Logan Marshall Green, again, just killing the game.
Really killing the game.
This an upgrade. Like that's the double feature to stop people ever saying he's discount Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's his own actor, and it's a shame because people say comparing that because they do look alike, but they do completely different types of films. I
think Logan Marshall Green's always more vulnerable in his roles. He plays characters that I think are in a bit more of a state.
I know what you mean. I do think at the same time Tom Hardy plays these hyper sort of masculine guys that have that vulnerability, and I think that's kind of what is the magic of Tom Hardy.
Yes.
They have that you can see it squeezing through.
Yes.
But
I still
Logan
think
Marshall Green
he's a bit of a Superman, isn't he, sometimes?
Yes, whereas I do think that Logan Marshall, he has this element of, I don't know, like he plays like a kind person.
Yeah, because even though he's an athletic man, and I totally believe he could take on 10 dudes in Upgrade.
Yes,
he's got those eyes where, like, I also believe, like in this movie. Yeah. I mean, I know we said full spoilers. I don't know if I want to give certain things away.
Yeah, I don't think I want to give away this because I think this movie is best to go in knowing as little as possible, like we did.
Yeah.
Because it is quite shocking. But let's just say the scares fucking haunted us.
Oh yeah. And the tension.
The tension.
And the way that you are on his side. Basically, he's very sure of this situation being a certain way.
Yes.
That makes sense, doesn't it? Without spoiling too much. And the movie does everything it can to sort of convince you that he's the one that's mad, even though you're also like, no, hang on a minute. Let's wait, let's take it. And then I think that pays off so well.
No, yeah.
And the way that moment where you reveal all is constructed is such a good shock.
No, yeah, it is.
Like, yeah, fantastic. I think maybe the only thing for me, presents for me like a full 5 stars is, I think at the end it jumps the shock just a tiny bit in the last couple of minutes, just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But it's not a. It's a nitpick.
Yeah,
it's a nitpick that takes it from a 5 star to a 4.5 for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I still loved it.
I personally liked it because it reminded me of another movie, but I don't want to say that because I think it will give away what it is if you do it. But I do get your point. I do get you because it makes it. We can't really say anything. Let's not say it.
Let's leave that one.
Let's leave that one. Yeah.
If you haven't seen The Invitation, watch The Invitation.
Please check it out. Also, message us about it if you liked it. We'd love to know if 100%. You guys enjoyed it or what you didn't like.
100%. I think the nicest thing doing anything like this is when someone says, "Oh, I hadn't seen this movie, but now I've checked it out." Like, that's a fantastic feeling.
Yeah, there's nothing that makes me feel better. Like when people are like, "Oh, this was great." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, that's so awesome. That's so great that I could, open you to see this movie or whatever." Like so many people have done for me. Do you know what I mean? So,
yes, yeah. Pay it forward.
Exactly. Yeah, and then after we watched The Invitation, we thought we'd go for something in a similar vein. But I don't know if it quite worked out for us.
Is it High Life?
It is High Life, yes.
Yeah, I really wanted to like this.
Yeah, same.
But
especially it was directed by Claire Denis. It's got Robert Pattinson in it. It's got Andre 3000 in it. I thought it was,
absolute legends.
I thought it was for me. I thought this was the movie for me. I really liked. To talk about the things I did like about it. I did really like the practicality of it. I like that everything was practical. I like some of the sets were really cool and stuff.
Although I do think you never buy they're on the ship. And I know,
sometimes,
obviously, you shouldn't really criticise it for that, but it didn't feel like a world to me.
Yeah.
And I just think it's too convoluted and clunky for its own good.
Yes, I agree. It was too... It felt really long as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's even that...
I don't think it is. I think it's like 2 hours on the dot.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a very cold movie, isn't it?
It's a very cold movie, yeah. The characters I felt were very... They were missing a little bit.
Yeah. There's some really creepy imagery in it.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Or maybe eerie is a better way to describe it.
Yeah.
And I really like the concept of like convicts being sent into space.
Same.
But I just feel like could have done it better. If your convicts in space movie isn't as good as Alien 3, you've got a problem, because that's already a fairly middling bar to hit.
Yeah. I'm aware a lot of people enjoy this movie, but it just wasn't for us, was it?
No,
we tried. But after that, because we were so hyped from Brawl and Cell Block 99, we thought we'd go for Robert Zala?
Oh God.
Craig,
you're doing this through Letterboxd, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll click on it.
Craig Zoller Sites.
I really like this guy as well, so I remember his name.
Yeah.
S. Craig Zala. I hope I pronounced that properly.
This podcast brought to you by Letterboxd. Just guiding us through this.
Thank you so much.
This quarantine film festival.
Literally. But yeah, we watched Dragged Across Concrete, starring Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson in this S. Craig Zala movie.
It's too long. Some great ideas in it.
Fantastic
the
ideas.
The bank teller subplot bit that lasts like 10 minutes.
Phenomenal.
Really, really strong.
Phenomenal.
Really awesome. I do think it ends well.
Yep.
It's just, I think...
It's a bit in the middle, isn't there?
There's a 90-minute movie version of this that I think might have been great. It's weird though, because I don't think Brawl is a short movie.
No,
but it's much better structured.
Yes, I feel like I enjoy the sort of relaxed nature of this one in terms of it's, it really allows you to have time to spend time with the characters, and you're watching the characters from both sides. It kind of has that kind of Wire thing aspect of like you're seeing both sides. You don't really want them to come together and because they're going to have to. Shit's going to go down, and you don't want anyone to die or whatever that's going to happen. But yeah, I think what S. Craig Zala is really good at is the way he shows violence for me, and it's not necessarily in a celebratory way. It's very real, very horrible to watch. And even though Brawl, they have some really over the top stuff that happens, in particular this bank scene that we're talking about.
Yeah.
He sets up he sets it up so you really feel for these characters. It's really clever the way he does that, I feel. And I don't think I've really seen a movie before where you're watching a bank robbery happen from the perspective of the people that work there. And I don't want to say, but do you know what?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's annoying because I don't want to spoil it for guys, but let's just say it's fucking hard to watch.
I think there's also, without spoiling too much, a heartbreaking marriage proposal.
Yes, there is. It is horrible.
It's those moments that keep it from being a mess for me.
Yeah, it's really special. There's a lot of really great scenes.
But it takes a bit too long to get to the point, I think.
Sometimes, it does. But overall, really enjoyed it.
And I like watching murky characters that you don't always agree with.
Yes, I love it. And I think that's what's really interesting about him. I like that he's playing these characters. He doesn't judge his characters. He just...
No one in this movie is really good.
No.
Apart from one person who gets a grim end, and one person at the very end who I'd say gets what they deserve in a good way.
Yeah. No, it kind of it's.
I love how we came in with the spoilers, and
now we're
just
going
back
on
on
it.
it.
Yeah. It's because we we like these movies and we want people to watch.
And I reckon people who are listening to this have seen Rogue One.
Yes,
definitely, because I've put videos up on the channel and stuff. Whereas I've never said anything about Dragged Across Concrete.
That's true. And we also quickly need to talk about the fantastic soundtrack by the OJs, particularly
Shotgun Safari.
So
absolute
good.
banger.
Fantastic.
Banger.
We have non-stop been playing it pretty much for the whole of lockdown. In particular when we've gone for drives.
They do say Christopher Reeve in it, don't they? Or am I? Because when I'm humming it to myself, I'm like, "Murder Christopher Reeve." But like, when you just say a lyric wrong, you just assume that's what they say.
They probably definitely don't say that. But I
nothing will be
talking about.
as bad as when I thought Rock the Casbah was Run the Dance Floor. Run the dance floor, run the
amazing.
dance floor.
Brilliant. But I just realised I missed that little film that we watched, actually.
Oh, well, the whole thing's ruined. We're going to start again, aren't we?
But this was literally the day before Dragged Across Concrete.
Okay.
We watched Commando.
That was fucking
so
fun. So much fun.
So much fun.
It just gets more and more bonkers as it goes on. It is the blueprint for every ridiculous action movie ever made.
100%.
Like, you wouldn't have Fast and Furious without Commando.
No, yeah.
Also, Schwarzenegger's top tier in it.
It's so good. And is it just me, or did it feel like it was self-aware in places?
Yeah, more than I expected.
Yeah, more than I expected as well.
Yeah. Also, I think for a film that's like macho bravado from start to finish, really good female leads.
Yes.
Like, and their rapport is great.
No, it's
like,
great, yeah.
Carries the movie, I think.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Also, like, there's a lot of humour that's derived out of it.
So good.
And I just wasn't expecting it to be like that.
No.
I thought it would be a bit like, oh, this film really thinks a lot of itself.
Yeah.
Like, but it was self-aware. And the fact that it was like, yes, this is bonkers. Yes, Arnold's never going to have to reload, and you're going to love it.
Yeah. And everyone's just everyone's just jumping and flying all over the place whenever he shoots anyone.
God.
It's brilliant.
Only bodies.
So good. Let off some steam, Bennett.
He's dead tired. Oh no, we're forgetting.
The best.
You're a funny guy, Sully. I like you. That's why I'm going to kill you last. Hey, Sully,
So
remember when I said I was going to kill you last? That's right, Matrix, you did. I lied.
It's the best.
I love the way he pathetically says, "That's right, Matrix, you did." Like, just so desperate as he's hanging off this cliff to just like say anything that will appease this god who's about to murder him.
Oh, fantastic. John Matrix as well. What a ludicrous name. Incredible. We then watched Eli Roth's Cabin Fever.
You liked this a lot, didn't you?
I enjoyed it. I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. There were scenes in it. I think there's some really great scenes. I think there's some iconic scenes, in particularly the leg shave scene. I think that's such a great horror moment. I'm
struggling to remember anything other than the American Pie bits.
Really? Yeah. Because there was a
bit
lot
like American Pie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Fair. It's very spoofy and it's very almost like a parody of.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting that.
Nor was I at the time.
But I don't know. It's one of those things maybe I could 180 on a rewatch.
Yeah.
But I just remember really not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was particularly tense or scary.
Interesting. Yeah. I just liked the moments. Like, I found it tense when she was shaving her leg, and then she kept doing it, and then it revealed, her skin's got this infection. It was pulling her skin back. I was like, that was like a great horror moment.
I didn't really get the sense. I didn't get the sense, unlike another movie which we've spoken about on the Full Fat Podcast before, Contagion, which I know obviously is a completely different tone.
Yeah.
But that movie really made me fear the idea of catching a viral infection. Whereas this, it was just sort of like, oh no, that person's done, or no, this person's done. Like, I don't really care or know what's going on. No. I didn't particularly enjoy it.
All right, that's fair enough.
But I've got a lot of time for Eli Roth. Oh no, wait, you weren't there when we watched. Me and Adam watched Knock Knock, didn't we? I don't think.
I've seen Knock Knock. We've seen it before, but
yeah, I like Knock Knock a lot.
So do
I. It's great fun.
I think it's really, I think it's a fun movie. Yeah,
it was free pizza.
Ridiculous. But after we watched Cabin Fever, we probably had I would say a near perfect
streak
movie.
Oh right.
With this one, and because we have a great time with this every time we watched it, and that is Black Dynamite.
Oh, I love Black Dynamite.
It's so good.
But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs in the community.
So good. Yeah, no.
I feel like we could just back and forth quotes. There's no need to.
No,
review
literally,
it, yeah.
it's
ha! It's threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Black Dynamite. A lot of cats have that name. So good. It's just it's an absolutely fantastic movie.
And Nixon's like, he's like, can you dig it? Yes, I can dig it. I thought you could. It's a perfect parody.
It's a perfect parody. Also, like, it's a movie that's a parody of these type of films. It had no reason to give us some of the action fight scenes that it did.
Well, like, Michael J. White is like he's the real
powerhouse,
deal.
mate.
Yeah,
no, literally.
Like, I would not want to be on the other end of some of those leg kicks. 100%. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't even get into a fight with like cream corn. You know what I mean? They're all. Or is it
fantastic?
It's time for Bullhorn to get up in that ass. And he fucking gives him a swing. Yeah, no, yeah, they're all a bit tasty, aren't they? Tough customers.
The gags are hilarious in it. The practical jokes, the way it uses the camera to like tell jokes. Yeah,
it's all physical comedy.
All
isn't
physical
it, really?
comedy. I think it's an absolutely hilarious movie.
I could watch it any time, as you said.
No, literally, it's a great like parody of like blaxploitation movies. It's we love this movie.
What more can we say?
Yeah, what more can we say? Literally. The next one is one of my favourite, noir movies, actually. Well, neo-noirs, and that is the Coen Brothers' Blood Simple.
I've never felt more unsettled from watching people die as I think in that movie, particularly the last couple of frames.
Yes.
And also I think it's a really good story about, you might think, if someone did me really, really wrong, I'd kill them. Or, you hear people saying, don't you? Oh, yeah, like, would you kill someone for doing X, Y, Z? Like, like if someone killed your family, you'd say you go and kill this person, whatever. Yeah. I think we all like to think that, you could have it in you if someone did you that wrong,
Yeah.
But this is like, if someone really, really, really screwed you over and you really wanted to, you actually put your money where your mouth is and you wanted to kill someone when you had no experience doing it, this is what it would actually be like. Yeah. And this is how sickening it would feel. And this is how it would feel like once it's done, you can never go back. Yeah. That's happened now, and you're a different person forever, aren't you? I think it really taps into that. It's fantastic.
I think it's phenomenal. I love the fact that it's like this noir movie, but it's like a horror movie as well. It's almost like a monster movie. It's like a, particularly the hitman that Emmett Walsh plays. It's almost like he's Jaws almost, and he's coming after them. Yeah. And it's like
he's so creepy.
He's terrifying, and particularly I think I always remember the scene when they're inside the flat, and he's got the sniper on them, and they keep turning the lights. Like the tension is next to none, and it.
There's something about the way with the costume design and the makeup, the sort of the sweaty nature to him. Yeah. That reminds me of like, in Men in Black, there's like the bug hiding in human people. He feels like there's an alien inside him. He's not human.
No, yeah.
And it makes your skin
cold. The way he's like, he speaks very slowly. And he's always got a grin on him when he's talking.
He's a complete reptile, isn't he?
He is a reptile. But I also like that you see him struggle. You see him... You see him like sweat and be like, and particularly the genius. It's funny because the two movies that do this in our thing, which is the shooting the wall and the rays of light coming through. They use it cleverly in Near Dark to burn some of the vampires, and they do it in Blood Simple. It looks iconic.
So Frances McDormand, she's incredible in it.
When is she not good? Well, she's incredible. She's always great. She's so good in it. And just a solid work from like the Coen Brothers, but they're another one that are always pretty much good, great, and that was I really enjoyed Blood Simple.
I was trying to think of a Coen Brothers movie I haven't enjoyed, but I haven't seen The Lady Killers. That's supposed to be bad,
it's
isn't
not
it?
great.
You didn't like it, did you?
No. But we have the next film that we watched, which is another one we was a little bit disappointed by, unfortunately.
Oh, is it? Is it got a certain tash in it?
It does have a certain tash in it.
Okay. Will I be reminded of Jay-Z Encore?
You will be reminded of Jay-Z Encore.
Yeah. Is it Miami Vice?
It is Miami Vice.
Oh God. I don't get it.
People love this movie, and I
if you go on Letterboxd,
yes,
there's people that really, really love this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how widespread the actual acclaim for it is.
Yeah.
I've
seen quite a lot of people on Twitter say like they think it's really underrated, but I don't.
No, I thought it was.
I don't get it, if I'm honest with you.
Right.
Some cool scenes, I guess, but like I don't care about the characters that much.
I've never seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I'm a massive Michael Mann fan as well, so it was made even more disappointing for us.
It's just like weird things. Like it just feels like the movie's just started.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like 10 minutes in, like you actually think like, oh, what have we like skipped ahead? And
I quite like the opening. I was like, oh, hold on, this is going to be quite good. You know, a bit tasty.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes off on some weird subplots.
Also, I feel like for a buddy cop movie, there's very little buddy cop in it. And I feel like Jamie Foxx kind of dissolves out of the film.
Yeah, I don't really feel their connection as like...
No.
Do you know what I mean? As like this duo.
No. Again, it's one of those things I'm like, I want to see what people see in it.
I want to love it. I want to love it.
Because on paper, Michael Mann, Jamie Foxx, Colin Farrell...
That's like a fucking masterpiece.
Doing Miami Vice.
No, literally.
Like,
but yeah, it wasn't for us, that one. But we made up for it the next day with Harmony Korine's The Beach Bum.
Fantastic. I think I gave it 5 stars.
Yeah, no, I was really surprised how much I loved this movie. Like, not that I wasn't not going to like it, but I was expecting it to be as good as what it... Because people already were talking about it. It wasn't like the way people were talking about Spring Breakers or... you know what I mean? It was...
Yeah. Well, I think it had a bit of a quieter release, didn't it?
Yeah, because it didn't seem to get digital, it seemed.
I think I prefer it to Spring Breakers.
Really?
Yeah. I love both of them, but... I don't know.
I'd have to go back to Spring Breakers, because I really love Spring Breakers.
I mean,
but
Alien and The Bum are both, I think, 2 of Korine's best characters.
No, they are. They're phenomenal characters. And again, this one's a bit of a hangout movie, isn't it?
Yeah. I like how he goes on an odyssey, meeting different people. Like Zac Efron's part in it is really, really good. And then, obviously Snoop Dogg pops up a few times. Martin Lawrence.
Yep.
His whole bit, I was like, yes.
So good.
I mean, he's the boy anyway, isn't he?
And it's funny how I think what I like about Harmony Korine is that he gets you to really like these morally problematic in places characters that are so charismatic that you can't help but root for them the whole time, and it questions you as a viewer, and that's what I particularly like about it. I think a lot of people, their problems with things like Spring Breakers is I feel like they took it very at face value.
Yeah. You're not supposed to like Alien.
No, but that's what makes films to me so interesting, that you can root.
Yeah.
Or not root, but because they're so charismatic, you want to see more of this guy.
Yeah.
And I do think he's really good at sort of putting a lens at the generation that we're in now.
Yeah.
Particularly in Spring Breakers and in Beach Bum as well.
I just think it's such a great exploration into someone who had something, had talent, had people around them who loved them, and it's just a slow descent of self-destruction.
Yep.
And that chaotic nature feeds into all the comedy.
All the
situations and scenarios the bum finds himself in. And I think it ends perfectly.
No, same. It's everyone's great in it. Snoop Dogg's great in it. Zac Efron's great in it.
She made my dick look so big in her hands. Well, you should imagine what I look like in my dick in her hands. For context, that's Snoop Dogg having a conversation with McConaughey about his deceased ex-wife, who he was having an affair with, and the bum's absolutely okay with it.
It's so...
Well, no, actually, that's the scene where he's like, okay, let's stop.
Oh yeah, you've gone too far.
Even the most chill man in America is
no, literally. Yeah, that was so much fun. Also, Jonah Hill. I mean, he was so funny. In that
when's he not good at anything?
No, that is true. He's always good. So that was a delight. I'd recommend that one to a lot of people, especially if you want a good laugh. We laughed a lot through the movie.
If you want to laugh at the time and then slowly contemplate your existence for a few days afterwards.
Yes, definitely. Oh my god, it's just a delight after this. We then go on to the national treasure, the hero of the country, Austin Powers, the international man of mystery. Probably, I'm gonna say it. It's probably my favorite comedy
of all time.
It probably is. Like I think because it goes back to me from when I was a kid. Like I watched this movie all the time on repeat. And obviously being a fan of films, it's very referential to that sort of stuff. But just everything about it, I just find absolutely hilarious. And the physical jokes, like it just goes back to like the old guy, like in terms of like the practicality. It goes back to like the Marx Brothers for me in terms of some of the gags, the visual gags in it.
I love that it's about this guy that's so out of touch, but he's so charming at the same time and so sweet in places.
Yeah, he is really sweet.
He gets away with it. Like,
he means well, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and that's what's so.
And he's simultaneoly inept, but also so awesome. He's a backflipping like artiste, photographer, super spy, womanizer. Like he's just like there's no situation he can't charm his way out of. Is there?
No.
Yeah, Austin Powers, hilarious.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Would you like some orange sherbet? also, Dr. Evil
is so funny.
It's breathtaking. I suggest you try it. Try it. No, the boy is astute. I really am trying to kill him.
It's brilliant. Like his relationship with Scott is some of the best stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm dying with him.
Yeah.
I love that they go to counselling and like all this. Absolutely brilliant. And also what I liked about International Man Mystery is I really like how sweet the kind of relationship is with is it Liz?
Oh, Liz Hurley. Vanessa.
Hurley, yeah. Yes, Vanessa.
Yeah.
It surprised me going back and rewatching it. I was like, oh, like,
she acclimatises him to the 90s,
yes,
and gets him to grow up a bit, and then I think he kind of gets her to tap into kind of that optimism that he's brought from the 60s.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
Yeah.
I really like the scene in particular when he catches up basically on his history.
Yeah.
And it's quite sad.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like, he's a man out of time.
Also, she calls him out on his behaviour. Like when he shags a lot of vagina, and then she's like, "Oh, I was worried." Well, you'd have a reason to be worried, baby. I shagged her. I shagged her rotten. What? Like, and he just thinks he's going to say that, and it's all good.
It's all okay. For a different time, and I think they're something really interested about.
Yeah,
taking a character from a different.
The first one is where those gags really work of he's a man out of time, whereas I think they kind of lose that a bit in the sequels.
Yes.
It's more just about here's Austin, here's another fun adventure, like let's go.
No, exactly. And that's what we watched afterwards. We loved it so much we were like, do you know what, fuck it, let's do all three of them. So we for the preceding days we watched Spy Who Shagged Me and Goldmember.
For me it's
goes in order.
Yeah. 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars.
Yeah.
I liked Goldmember more than I remember.
I think Goldmember has some of the most memorable gags of the series for me in places.
Really?
Not one is the best. Like it's perfect for me, but there's some jokes like I think are really clever in Goldmembers, and I really like that Michael Caine is his dad. I think that just fits it perfectly, and particularly the way they build up the whole stuff with Dr. Evil and him when they're at school and stuff. I really like all that.
That stuff is good. Yeah,
it's really clever.
I think 2 is the one for me where it's like 1's the best movie, but 2 has some of the most memorable jokes.
Yes, that is also true as well.
2 also brings in things like Mini-Me, where it's like I can't separate the trilogy from Mini-Me. Like you just think, oh yeah, Mini-Me's in all of them. No, he's not. He's not in the first one at all. But it's such a essential part of that Austin Powers.
Yeah, you almost think about Spy Who Shagged Me when you think about Austin Powers, don't you?
I think so. Yeah. Like Fat Bastard, all that sort of things. That's all in.
It's what people talk about.
Yeah. The penis ship.
Yeah,
Johnson. We have a small unidentified aircraft flying.
Exactly. And I think as well, like it does there's some really good set pieces, like the obviously the opening dance is fantastic.
Oh, when he
comes out of the water and stuff, and he's people chopping the sausages and stuff.
Also, I'm pretty sure they couldn't get Liz Hurley back, so that's why they wrote that opening where they kill her off.
Phenomenal.
And it's the best way to
hilarious.
do it.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Like it feels completely in line with that incredibly crazy universe.
It does.
Oh, she was a fembot, Basil. Yes, we knew all along.
It's so good. It's brilliant. But yeah,
isn't it funny how parts of Britain look like Southern California?
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, it's fantastic. And I also feel like he kind of steps it up a little bit in some of the direction. Like, I really like when he goes back to the 60s and you first and I think Magic Carpet Ride's playing, and you really get a sense of like, oh, he's here, this is it, and like, he's dancing, and like it makes you like, I don't know, it really puts you in that environment, and you get why he loves it so much. Like,
I also think even though it's kind of very crude and there's a lot of sex jokes and this sort of stuff, there's something quite innocent and warm about the whole series to me. I don't know if it again.
I agree.
Like you were saying, we watched it when we were kids.
Yeah,
but there's like some of the jokes are just kind of fart and poo jokes. And it's kind of wholesome to me.
No, it is wholesome.
Also, before we move on, the opening to Goldmember is the best opening of the series.
Oh my god, it's
Tom Cruise's Austin
so
Powers.
good. It's genius. That's perfect.
Hilarious.
It's perfect.
It's
Tom Cruise.
The way he delivers "Shall we shag now, shag later"? There's no way you could do a perfect impression of it. Like, it's the way it's still Tom Cruise. He's not doing an Austin Powers impression, yet he's somehow channeling Austin Powers.
Yeah, baby.
Just by being himself.
It's so good. He's perfect. And I love as well, I read that the reason why he did that is because he's such a massive fan of the Austin Powers movies.
I've seen an interview with him where they're showing clips and he's properly cracking up. And he's like, I don't know why they didn't keep making those movies. But...
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so we're big Austin Powers fans. All of them have a place in my heart. I think they've all got good parts in them. And then we go back to a movie that we found a little bit disappointing. The Night Comes for Us.
Yeah, for me it's like the perfect example of, you know, when there's a bit of gore in a fight scene or any sort of action scene, it punctuates the rest of the fight scene. When you just have gore the entire way through and people are just getting bloodier and bloodier and bloodier to the point where it's like almost parody, you lose all the impact of the fight. And there's like, obviously the raid guys, they're proper fighters. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're you know, like, that's the real deal. But in that movie, I think it all gets spoiled by just all the gore and blood and guts that's thrown everywhere. Like, you don't feel any of it.
Yeah, it's weird. As a guy who loves particularly violence in movies and thinks that...
As a guy who loves violence.
No, in movies, like, you know, I really don't like the way it's done here. And I think this is the problem. I think this is what people think about when they say, like, oh, these films are too violent and there's a problem. Like, this is, to me, I was like, it just
it's like a Tarantino parody, isn't it?
Yeah, but not even to the point, because like
think Tarantino is.
It's almost an insult to Tarantino. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's kind of, it's blood is to the point where you don't feel anything. There's no emotional impact. There's no.
Sorry, that is an insult to Mr. Quentin Tarantino. What I mean is more when people complain about the violence in Tarantino movies. I think it's what they think it's The Night Comes for Us.
Yes, that's how I feel. I'm like, that's where it should be aimed at. I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I like these movies for doing that, for taking that risk and putting more violence in, but they just go too indulgent with it, I feel like, and it nothing. I'm just like, nothing's. It's senseless completely. Like, I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Processing it. Nothing has a punch to it. There's no. Yeah. And I think the difference, and you can really tell what the difference is between someone like Gareth Evans, who's directing the Raid guys, because he understands the beats, the punchlines. He understands that, you know, it's not necessarily about the gore, but it's about using the gore in particular moments to shock or to create an emotion instead of just like, you know what I mean, like slapping it everywhere.
When I'm watching a fight scene and something gruesome happens, I'm like, ooh, that's a great feeling. Yes. When I'm watching it happen for the millionth time, I'm just unsettled and I'm watching it. I don't care. Yeah. Also, like, they take a ridiculous amount of beatings in this movie, right up to the final frame. Yeah, no. When he's driving the car, like, you know, spoilers, he's driving the car towards all those guys shooting the guns.
Yeah, and you're like, how is he not? Yeah, in almost like a Commando way. I feel like it goes into like a Commando way.
Yeah, but it's not that sort of movie.
But not in that exact bit. The tone's completely different, so you don't get away with it.
Takes itself way too seriously, doesn't it?
Yeah. Great.
It's a shame.
It's a shame. But then we watched a fantastic movie that we both hadn't seen. And that is I'm going to pronounce this guy's name wrong all the time. But Denis Villeneuve. Is it Villeneuve?
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 I googled this for my Nightcrawler Mysterio essay. Dennis Vinnyville?
I thought it was Villeneuve. I don't know. Villeneuve? So we're terrible people.
Denny Villeneuve? I think it's Denny Villeneuve.
Is it? Yeah.
We know. You guys know who we're talking about.
Yeah. And we love him. And particularly, we love this movie, which was Enemy.
Oh, Enemy was fantastic.
Brilliant. I don't know why I didn't watch it sooner.
I think it's... Well, I don't know. Jake Gyllenhaal's best performance is Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
But this is a close second.
Yeah, he's very good in this. He's very good.
He's terrifying. And yet so timid at the same time.
And you feel like they're two separate characters.
Even though they don't do much in terms of the costuming and making them look that different. Like, I know obviously one's a professor, one's kind of this cool leather jacket, motorcycle. But yeah, they do feel like, you're right, they feel like two completely distinct characters.
Yeah. I think I watched a video before breaking down his acting in that movie and talking about how he uses his eyes.
Okay.
And it was like how one of the characters, the one who's a bit more intimidating, if you know the one I'm talking about, he squints more.
Okay.
And then when he's playing the other guy, his eyes are a bit more open because he's a bit more timid.
Oh, okay.
And it's like little things like that
little details
make you feel. And that's to me why he's one of the greatest working actors at the moment. It's those little things that he brings that you're just like so simple but so effective. Like that. The key. You immediately know that they never felt like the same. As much as they look so similar, they never felt like the same person. And it was very
And it's a kind of quite a sickening view. Looking to fidelity, isn't it?
Yeah, and for people that don't know what the premise is, it's essentially about a guy who watches a film and sees someone who looks exactly like him in the movie and essentially seeks to find out who this person is. And that's all I feel like we should say.
I was going to ask you a question about what you thought was literal in it and what was not, but I think, we'd probably spoil it.
But I think it's very...
Might be my favourite Denny film.
It's definitely up there. I really like Arrival as well.
Tough. Arrival is seminal, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to think about that.
Yeah, I have to think about that.
That's tough.
It's between Arrival and Enemy for me, I think.
Yeah, we're still needing Prisoners, Sicario. There's another one, isn't there?
Blade Runner 2049.
Blade Runner 2049. Yeah,
there's other
might be
something else
for me as well.
I think.
I feel like there's another one.
Yeah, I feel like there's another one.
Oh, well, I'm sure it comes to us.
Someone's screaming at us.
Yeah, someone's like, you fucking idiots. We just got bad memories. That's the problem. Well, me in particular. Yours is pretty good.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, no. Then we watched a movie that I think's criminally underrated. I put this in. I made a list on Letterboxd of like most underrated movies of the past decade, and Killer Joe is 100% on that list.
Oh my god, that was so incredible. We got spoiled with McConaughey, didn't we?
Absolutely
spoiled. Also, two wildly different performances. He is so fucking terrifying in this movie.
He might be one of the scariest characters that I've seen played from like a leading role actor.
Yeah,
like someone who's like, he's like, because you got to think like, Matthew McConaughey's an incredibly good-looking man, So it's, I think it's so hard sometimes for people like that to come across as scary.
The way he coerces the entire family into getting his way is sickening.
No, it is
horrible, and it goes places you don't expect it to go. Again, it's another one that's hard without spoiling too much, but yeah.
And you should go in as known as little.
Yeah, kind of shares a bit of DNA in terms of the plot as Blood Simple, I think, in terms of what sort of route it goes down.
Yes,
but then it takes it in a completely different direction.
100%. I posted on Twitter like, after we watched it, saying like a great double bill would be Killer Joe and Blood Simple. I think they'd be,
did you?
Yeah. I think that'd be a fantastic double bill. Both set in the South.
Yes, yeah. Emil Hirsch is great as well.
Yeah.
Juno Temple, Thomas Hayden Church.
So it's
everyone's phenomenal in it.
It's a fantastic.
Oh, and
movie.
there's that actor you really like, isn't there? The wife.
We're gonna do a Gina.
Yeah.
Fuck. We've been terrible today with names, haven't we?
You know what, mate? We're getting through a lot of films. And usually when we record these things, we've just seen the film.
That is
like,
true.
Some of this stuff that I'm like, I completely forgot we even
Gina
watched
Gershon.
This. That's it.
Gina Gershon. Yeah, she's fucking phenomenal.
We are about to pass an hour. How many films are in a
all right, we'll speed through some of the rest. We'll get to the. I'll get to the.
Should we do a few quick fires?
You do a few quick fires, right? So quickly, just go for Killer Joe. I also think William Friedkin's direction is top tier in this movie.
The only thing I think is it was from a play, wasn't it?
Yes.
I do think you feel that in places.
I know what you mean, but I think that's only because it's like mostly one location. But I think the way he directs it, for me, I think it's like masterful.
Yeah, it's for me. It's because they go to multiple locations, but it's like you'll spend time in that interior, and that's the whole scene, and then it'll go to another interior scene, and then another. Like, do you know what I mean? It feels like that.
Yeah.
But it's not really a disservice to the movie. I can't say I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's
didn't
phenomenal.
Incredibly enjoy it.
Highly recommend Killer Joe if you haven't seen it. We then watched Extraction.
It's not Chris Hemsworth, John Wick.
It's not.
A lot of people were saying that, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
John Wick.
The first fight scenes were good, but for me, the story is just it wasn't.
Yeah, the story's wanky, isn't it?
I've seen it before.
Yeah. Also, it's edited weird. Like, you didn't need to start the movie where it starts and then go backwards. Like, Chris Hemsworth's first appearance should be when he's under the water, like meditating. Like, I feel like that screams to me of a studio led. Oh, this is an action movie. We need to put some action, bolt it to the first minute, and then like take that bit out of the finale and put it at the front, and then we'll go backwards. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, it's weird. I do feel like there's a part of me that feels like there is a good movie in there. There's like 90 minutes probably.
Yes, I think so.
But yeah, because there's some good scenes in it. Like, I can't take that away.
The action's
really well shot. It's really well done, and I think that's because it's directed by a stuntman.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's. But yeah,
I'd happily watch a 10-minute cut of any part of that movie.
Yeah. And I'll be open to the sequel that they're talking about making.
Are they doing a sequel?
Yeah, they're doing a sequel. So
okay.
I'll be open to see what they do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Extracted.
Just a little bit of spoiler. Extracted. We then watched The Cube.
Oh yeah,
Which was really fucking crazy.
One of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Yeah. Not only because of the premise, but like the performances were weird. Everything about it was just off. Yeah, but in this really unsettling way.
Yeah. But in a weird way, it kind of added to the experience for me.
Yeah.
Of why it was so creepy, and like I think the sets were so well made.
Yeah.
That everything just felt off kilter, and there was a lot of like canted angles. Everything just felt really uneasy. Yeah. And whether that's intentional or not, I don't know. But that's what it made me feel. And
the design of those sets were really weird,
very weird.
I think it definitely communicates the claustrophobia.
100%. Yes,
but you feel like boxed in as you're watching it.
Yeah,
it's not nice.
No, yeah, and you feel terrified that you feel terrified that you do get a real sense of like, oh shit, they're in danger. Like the traps feel like they're horrific.
Yeah. Like every time the way it's constructed is like it's a square. There's like a porthole, isn't there, in the middle? They climb through, they jump out. But like every time they jump into the new box, even though they might be convinced that they got it right, you're still like, oh no. Yeah, no. And it's always a weird kind of death, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Very strange. Yeah, it's not one I need to rewatch because I don't know how I feel about it at the same time.
It's a bit.
There's weird stuff in it. I didn't need to watch it again, but I can't say I didn't enjoy myself, and that's the. Do you know what I mean? That's the main thing. And then after that, we did a little quick rewatch of Clerks 2, which we're big fans
still
of.
Fantastic.
That
the dance number in it just captures what it's like to be in love. I think.
100%
Wanky as that sounds.
No, but
I think that's what I think of.
No, mate, 100%. I think that's actually like one of the best things in terms of like direction that Kevin Smith's done in terms of like that. I think that whole musical number. Yeah. You're right. Like for one, it's nearly impossible to not feel happy listening to ABC by the Jackson 5, and the fact that having that and Rosie O'Dawson's fantastic, and they have this and they're dancing, and you're right, it does capture that feeling of like I watch it and it's like it gets
even though their situation is complicated. In that moment, it feels easy.
That's
some great gags.
Great way to put it.
Also, I just love how it ages those characters up from the first movie, and it's like, they just turn into losers. They never went past.
So good, such a good idea, and they blame everyone else. There's so much good stuff.
It's the sort of movie you watch that makes you feel sad that Kevin Smith's not making proper movies anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah. Because when he's good, I think he is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
When he cares.
Yes, yeah. And then after this, we did Matthew Vaughn's X-Men First Class.
Dun dun
Dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun.
I was shocked. Not shocked rewatching this because I knew I always loved it, but
I'm not going to say too much. I think I'm going to let you speak because
I know you.
I've got an X-Men essay.
You got something out your sleeve, haven't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I can tell you guys it's pretty exciting.
Oh,
I'm very excited for you guys to see this. I've had the inside scoop on it. I've very much enjoyed seeing you work on it. But yeah, X-Men First Class for me. After watching it, I was like, you know what? It might be one of my favourite superhero movies. I really, really like.
Yeah.
I think everything with Magneto, everything with Charles, it's their friendship is so interesting. The third act, I think, is incredible. I think it's like that's
it captures every single theme that's intrinsic to X-Men, and then it does it by wrapping it up in this super stylish ode to the 60s that also at the same time doesn't feel like a period piece. It feels like a film that came out in 2011. A film that has very little action but is just as fun and exciting as any big budget superhero movie. But it's because it's all rooted in character, isn't it?
100%.
And watching, I could watch 10 hours of Michael Fassbender killing Nazis.
Yeah.
Like, it's fantastic.
It's crazy how much it feels like X-Men's Inglourious Bastards in a weird way. Like, I don't know if that's because of Fassbender and obviously the connection of him. Yeah. But particularly that scene with the knife, that we all know what we're talking about. The pig farmer scene.
Blood and honor. Which would you like to shed?
It's just the tension is so well done, and I think you really notice when you get an experienced director like Matthew Vaughn to have a superhero project, because it feels so much like it's very stylized and it feels so much like a Matthew Vaughn movie, and it just shows you what, like, I feel like some of our favorite superhero movies are always by like these big, like auteur almost directors like Sam Raimi, the Spider-Man trilogy, and this feels like it's in that category for me. Like, as much as the Bryan Singer X-Men movies, like I love those movies, this feels so different. Not different. It still feels in the same vein, but it's like it's a proper individual movie, like superhero film, and I could watch it over and over again. I think it's phenomenal. It's I feel like I'm making really general sweeping statements, but I really like this movie, and sometimes I find it really difficult to.
It's a childhood
break down
classic for me, and that is sometimes hard to separate. But I do think I've seen it a million times now. But watching it recently, I'm like, no, it still holds up. No, I don't think it's Vaughn's best film. I'd say second.
What would you say?
Kick-Ass, I'd say, is his best film.
Yeah, probably.
No,
I need
it is
to rewatch
tough.
it though. I need to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a while as well.
Yeah,
because they're both very good. But yeah, probably. I don't know. We'd have to.
They're both top tier.
But yeah, but then we did the 1-2 punch of X-Men Days of Future Past after First Class.
We did the road cut, didn't we? Which you hadn't seen before.
I hadn't seen it before.
What do you think?
I liked it a lot more. I think it makes so much sense.
It puts the second act back into the movie for me. I think it definitely. That's where it really falters for me in the theatrical cut.
Yep.
But there's so many relationships that are honoured from the first movie. Like, there's no real connection between Beast and Mystique in the theatrical cut.
No. Yeah.
Which obviously they build upon in First Class, and in the road cut they put all that back in. It's no First Class.
It's no First Class, but it's a great movie.
And I do just enjoy how high concept it goes, because you got to think, like, those first X-Men movies, they're pretty grounded. Aside from the superpowers, it's not really that sort of superhero movie. And then they go full time travel, like completely different eras, like, and combining Jackman with Fassbender and McAvoy is like that. That's the trio for me. It's fantastic.
Phenomenal. To see them all together was.
And really to see special. The original X-Men characters come back. Like, I loved the X-Men movies when I was a kid. Like, they were so important to me.
Yeah, same.
And it's a shame that Bryan Singer's an arsehole, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a shame, because, I mean, obviously, the X-Men movies being tainted is the lowest priority on that list of things Bryan Singer has done wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will always taint those. unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame. I just tried to, separate
it from the film.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
it's hard, though, isn't it? Because
to me, I see it as like it's X-Men. I don't want to think about. It's hard though. I know
maybe
what you mean,
feel differently because to me,
it's hard.
I really like X-Men 2 was the first DVD I ever bought, and I used to rinse the special features. And obviously, Bryan Singer was all over those. So to me, those movies are so ingrained as like. Yeah. It taught me a lot about like the process of making movies. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like when you're a kid, and you just play the same thing on repeat.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So it is, but I can't really separate the original trilogy and Future Past and all that stuff from him.
No, I can totally imagine that,
which is a shame.
Yeah.
But I like to think there's a lot of people that go into making a movie, and there's a lot of people that I consider like good people that have that helped
take
make
away that credit of
they help make Days of Future Past what it is, and like Simon Kinberg and all that sort of thing, and it's for those people that I still hold it up as a film that I enjoy.
No, same. I am still sad that I don't want to go too much into this because but I'm sad that Matthew Vaughn was apparently one of the spearheads of Days of Future Past, and that we didn't get to see his version of that. But I do enjoy this a lot, so I don't want to. I do enjoy Days of Future Past. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I still think it's a hit rather than a miss.
Yes.
Although having said that, the strength of First Class. If Matthew Vaughn had been given a bigger budget and more time and free reign over the X-Men once again, who knows what he could have come up with? No. I would much rather have seen that than Kingsman, to be honest. But
that's the X-Men fanboy in us as well, isn't it?
It's more that I just think the Kingsman movies didn't. Like, the second one's, I'd say, actually a terrible movie.
I think it's bad.
The first one, is almost a really good movie.
Yeah, I like it.
It's still got a Matthew Vaughn touch.
Yes, I do enjoy it. There's just there's a couple of things I'm like, oh, that's weird. But no. And then after that, we did another underrated movie of the decade. David Wayne's They Came Together.
Oh, so much fun.
Hilarious. Which is another film it might make my list of like top 50 comedies probably.
We saw that at Sundance, didn't we? Like 2014.
Yep. And
I remember it was a very divided audience. Some people were howling like us, and some people looked like they were having the worst time. If you're not into that sort of comedy, it's not going to make any attempts to try and appease you.
No. I remember, maybe I remember it differently, but I remember almost at points us being the only ones laughing. And we weren't just like laughing. Like, me and Matt have very loud laughs, and we were howling at this movie. And in a theatre that but not a lot of people were laughing at. And I was like, I don't get it. I don't get why you don't think this film's hilarious. Like, it's such a clever parody of those movies.
Hey,
the tropes.
Thanks. Oh no! When all the friends are like, it's a parody of a rom-com, and it touches on pretty much every rom-com trope.
100%.
It's Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler, isn't it? But the bit when he's like, when the friends are discussing his love life, and he's like, well, just take each of our individual traits, which each represent a different sort of worry and fear you have about like your relationship, and put them all together, and you'll get the answer. Gee, thanks, man. And they're all playing basketball, aren't they?
So good. So good. Yeah, they're just like listing off the character they are. Like, I'm the guy that gets all the girls, and I'm the guy that's going to teach you to do this thing. Like, it's so fucking...
Have fun being a corporate drone.
So good.
He fights Michael Shannon at the end.
Brilliant.
I went up to David Wayne afterwards. This is probably the worst thing I've ever said to a famous person. Well, in terms of the Brentian quality of it, I went, "Oh, thanks for putting Ant-Man versus General Zod on screen." As I walked past him, and he just looks at me like,
"You nerd."
Yeah. I don't know if he knew what I was talking about, but yeah, it's Paul Rudd v Michael Shannon, isn't it?
Brilliant. Yeah, it is. Yeah. To give context, we were quite young, weren't we? We were still at school.
Yeah, if that makes it any better.
Yeah. No, we were still in school.
We were still in school. Yeah. So David Wayne. Sorry for being a little embarrassing school child. Yeah.
But what a great movie.
And indeed, thank you for bringing us Ant-Man versus General Zod. I wasn't lying. That's great.
Fantastic. Still means it.
He gets it. Admits it. It's because you didn't get that he's Michael Shannon in Man of Steel. That's part of it. It's part of it.
Well, there was nothing vicious. Was there?
Well, I've seen Man of Steel, and he doesn't sound like that.
Brilliant.
So we're just in the office. If anyone's completely lost.
Absolute
Saddos.
Yeah.
Quoting The Office in of itself is a David Brentism.
Yes, of course. That's what we've become slowly. But then we watched one of my favourite movies of last year, and one of yours, and possibly I think maybe the greatest bromance movie of all time. Might be. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Mr. Quentin Tarantino.
It's fantastic.
I've
called a lot of these movies fantastic, but I think we did aim in this stressful time to treat ourselves as much as possible.
Yes, we did. Times are tough.
Yeah. They've just got such an authentic friendship, and for a movie that has a lot of its running time, they're apart.
Yeah.
And you still feel the bromance. Yeah, I think it's one of Tarantino's best.
Yeah. It's weird because it just seems to get better every time. When I first watched it, and we did a podcast on it over at Your Favourite Film Was Awful, I loved it, but I wasn't I was blown away by it, but I still had my issues with it.
Yeah.
But then for rewatching it, I'm like, no, I get what you're doing here.
Yeah.
This is way more of a hangout movie than I realised. And I just really, it's a long movie, but I could watch it. It could be longer. I could watch it all day. I could watch their relationship all day. Like it's the little things like, when they're watching telly together, like they watch it exactly how me and you were like watch TV. Like literally, like, it's just like it's so. And I think it's the moments like that where
they feel
real,
proper friends.
Yes,
that enjoy movies and enjoy working together and enjoy spending time with each other.
100%.
But even beyond that, I just feel like it's really shown how much Tarantino's matured, and like I just think
I agree.
Every single criticism of his movies is kind of addressed in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but it's also a celebration of some of the best things he does as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like that ranch scene is a masterclass in tension.
It's a masterclass in tension. And someone described it as like being like, I think the editor, Freddie Raskin, described that scene as being like almost like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it does feel a bit like that. Like the dirtiness of the house, like it all builds up. And I love when he does this, Tarantino, having the film they're watching or the show they're watching soundtrack be the soundtrack to that scene.
Yeah.
And as he's like, the tension builds up only for it to be, he's okay. And there's so many, it throws you for so many loops and it sends you down so many different avenues. You keep thinking these things can happen and they don't.
Yeah.
It's masterful. It's some of his like best, like you said, most mature work, in particularly when it comes to the blocking of the scene. And it's just so quotable. Like everything, like also, like, I think Margot Robbie's fantastic in it. Like, there's such a sweetness in all of those scenes. Like, watching her watch herself.
There's tension in that, isn't there? Because the whole movie is playing on what you know of real life events. Mm-hmm. And you're watching the whole thing, laughing at times, having a great time. Particularly, I think the most comedy comes from Leonardo DiCaprio's threat.
Yes.
But then you switch
the lines.
to...
No, you don't look like you don't practice the lines.
But when when we cut to Margot Robbie,
it's like a ticking clock.
Even though we're not watching something dark, it's very intense.
Yeah, it's like a ticking clock. There's a real sadness to it.
Yeah.
And I think in particular, I kind of think that last shot from Tarantino, the ending shot, might be one of the best shots, or one of the most iconic shots in his movies now. There's something about that music.
Yeah.
That it
feels like we've gone off on a different path, doesn't it? Yeah. It feels like, this is... By the way, even though this is happy, you should know that this isn't what happens. Yeah. And
I think it's Tarantino's sweetest movie since Jackie Brown. Like, it's really sweet in terms of, like, Tarantino's known for, like, being violent and having revenge tales. Yeah. But you get that in this movie. Yeah. You do. But it's mostly a really sweet character study, whether it's about bromance or what could have been. Yeah. And like even just when we're hanging out and seeing Margot Robbie watch her film Sharon Tate, watch her film in the cinema, it's and seeing her smile as everyone laughs is like there's something so lovely but haunting underneath. That's sad that this person,
I just love how it explores, the idea that your life can go a certain way, and for it to not turn out how you thought, and for you to maybe have seen yourself as someone that was maybe successful, or you thought a lot of yourself, and to see that mirror held up, and for you to realise, oh, maybe it's all faded. Particularly and the way the characters respond to that, like Leonardo DiCaprio's character Rick Dalton, he is still struggling, isn't he? He's still trying to clamber onto that limelight, and I think Cliff Booth has sort of accepted that this is where we're at now, and we're just gonna have a great time till we burn out.
He's kind of like, as long as we're like together making stuff, we'll have a good time. Whereas Rick's, he wants to be, his ego is kind of what gets in his way sometimes, and he wants to be the big star, and particularly it makes me laugh every time when when they're in the dressing room and he says he wants him to wear a moustache or a hat, and he's like, well, how are they going to know that it's me? And he's like, well, that's the point, you're an actor. And he's like, oh, it's just like that just sums him up. So I feel like it's
official, old buddy. I'm a has-been.
It's so good. We particularly love this.
We could talk about it all day, but I should inform you, are at about an hour 20 minutes.
Oh my bloody god!
How many do we have left?
We don't have that many left actually. Let's go.
Okay, let's try and wrap this. Up. Yeah.
Right. So then we did Speed Racer, which we didn't like. Let's put it out there. There was I liked some of the things they tried visually. Some of the transitions were cool, but
it looks like Lazy Town.
Yeah, no, it looks like Lazy Town.
I get there's making visuals you've never seen before, and it's very visually unique.
They did try,
but I don't think that makes it good. And it's peak Matrix dialogue, isn't it? Like Matrix sequels.
There's not the perfect first one.
I think if you think this movie is good, you're off your rocker.
Really?
No offense.
Yeah,
no.
But also, it makes me sad as well, because apparently I've heard that there's a J.J. Abrams script of Speed Racer that was out at the time that was apparently even way better.
Well, really I could believe that, but also, JJ, you've burned me recently, so I'm not going to pay you the lip service.
And the next one we'll skim over because you're doing videos on them, and that is the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh yes, I'm writing Return of the King I'm finishing that script after we clock off. So
fantastic.
That should be out soon. In the next couple of weeks. It was great to do that for the first time. It was great to do a group watch of it.
We had a great time. Yeah. Particularly watching them all in order. I do feel like you kind of need to watch them all together. I watched the first one. I was like, I want to watch the next one. But they're big staples, iconic movies in the history.
They were movies that I needed to see before I died.
Yeah.
So
overall, good films. I mean, everything that's already been said about Lord of the Rings, and Matt's going to be doing a video.
Particularly the first two films, we don't want to
talking about them now. We don't want to talk about too much. Then after that, we did another Brad Pitt movie with one of our, we do like the fun of the director.
Oh, is it Tony Scott's Spy Game? I love this. I love that you have a scene between two characters having an argument shot with like a helicopter, a moving helicopter.
So Michael Bay owes everything to Tony Scott.
100%.
Like Tony Scott is like a good version of like Michael Bay, and even though his camera movies are just as ludicrous and that, but somehow it works. And we were saying this, weren't we? Like these are two people having a conversation on top of a roof, and the camera's constantly spinning. Yeah, it's like, why is this working? I don't know. What he does not stop moving the camera. And it's funny because I can imagine at the time people being annoyed, but I think now we have that.
Really? I think it's so bombastic and so entertaining, and it moves at such a pace that I feel like it's a movie I could sit down with my mum and watch as much as I could sit down with you and watch it. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's going to have a good time.
I think I was more referring to the fact of the films that it influenced.
I see.
That Tony Scott style, I think he influenced such the way Hollywood ended up making movies for that period of time. In that early 2000s, everything was like trying to be a Tony Scott movie, it feels like. Really loved it. Some great scenes in it. Some great he's just
the whole training sequence, and when he's trying to get into the flat, he's like, "Go on, you got 5 minutes." Well, now you got like 4 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh
so
shit,
good.
I need to go.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Also, Robert Redford and Brad Pitt, what a pairing.
What a pairing. And it's funny because obviously, like, I think we watched this because we were saying how much Brad Pitt reminded us of Robert Redford in Once Upon a Hollywood. So it was great to see them both in a movie together. Yeah, really, really enjoyed that. And then we did the American Pie movies.
We did. I forgot
Yeah,
about
I forgot
that.
that. Yeah.
Should we just quickly run through them all as a block then?
Yeah. Let's do the block.
One still holds up. A lot across the board. There's some jokes that have aged a bit poorly, but I think they've all got like a heart to them, and they do capture that kind of that in-betweeners feeling of like these people are at the end of the day like they're sweet people.
They do
aren't they?
mean
They're teenagers.
well, yes.
They're idiots.
Yeah.
Second one I think is a bit of a nothing movie, but it's got some funny moments.
Yeah, I
the
agree.
third movie is actually surprisingly well directed, and there's some
Really
really
well
good
directed.
physical comedy in it, isn't there?
Literally, I was really surprised rewatching it, like, because I was bigging it up to you guys. Going, I remember Wedding being the best one, didn't I? Santi, I loved that one the most when I was younger. But obviously, you when you rewatch things, you're not sure.
Yeah.
And I was actually blown away by some of the blocking.
Yeah.
It's so
that bit where they're trying to hide all the characters from it's his girlfriend's parents, isn't it?
Yes, who he's getting married to, and they're all like about to have this like these strippers over. Like,
yeah.
But it's so well constructed. When he
opens the door and Finch is in the cupboard, that's such a good joke.
It is like a Marx Brothers, Lauren Hardy style.
Yeah.
Like Abbott and Costello style sketch.
And I think as well it highlighted how poorly directed the second one is.
Yes,
well, it's not poorly directed. It's all coverage for improv jokes.
It's all jokes that are told to you.
Yeah.
Like they're all dialogue jokes or improv.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like it actually uses the camera and that to tell these jokes or tell the story and stuff. Not that
And then I thought Reunion was kind of fun.
I like it. I think it's a nice send-off movie, and it's got some really good ideas. I like that Stifler's kind of like this bum now.
Yeah.
And he's, and how they kind of realise that he's just as part of the group.
Yeah.
As much as he causes them shit and they don't like his morals on things, like he is underneath it all. I think what's interesting, why Stifler's the best character is because underneath it all, he's just the guy that wants to. He kind of just wants to have friends, doesn't he? He just wants to be liked. Or
the only thing with 4 is it does kind of undo a little bit of the resolutions in 3. 3 does feel like such a solid ending. You don't really need to see them ever again.
That is also true, yeah. Yes, overall, fun comedies of the time. Enjoyed them.
Yeah, we had a good laugh that week.
We did have a good laugh, yeah. And then we watched David Cronenberg's Naked Lunch.
My God, this movie was weird. Some of the greatest creature design I've ever seen. Those bugs.
The special
with
effects.
Their anuses. That sounds weird if you haven't seen the movie, but let's not explain it.
No, it's not.
Bugs with their anuses.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. I just love the idea that it's like this other world. It's almost like a graphic novel, isn't it? In a weird. I know it was a book, wasn't it?
Yeah. From what I understand, it's quite a loose adaptation.
Yes, I've heard apparently this. I've heard a lot of people say that it's better than the book.
Okay.
Apparently, because David Cronenberg adapted it to what?
Yeah.
And
I think it ranks fairly low in my Cronenberg list.
But that's only because I think
some of them are
so top tier.
So top tier.
I enjoyed it, but I think the others are more aligned in what I like from Cronenberg. But that's not to say there's some great stuff in this and some really interesting ideas, and I just love that he can make these sort of movies. Do you know what I mean? That he was given the money to make some of these films.
Yes.
Like they're so inventive and so him.
Yeah.
And you can really see that he's a guy that studied insects in all of his movies.
And I'm not really a big fan of insects, so the whole movie I was incredibly grossed out.
Yeah, no, literally.
Speaking of insects, actually, I've just remembered one movie we're going to get to.
Oh, yes.
Which must be soon.
It's very close.
Oh, so fantastic.
Yeah, so afterwards we did Anchorman 2, which I enjoyed. Good fun.
I did enjoy it. I was a bit sad in the sense
dated
that
a bit.
It did date a little bit, yeah. Some of it, wasn't quite as funny as I remember, and was a bit more juvenile than in a bad way. I still had fun with it, yeah. But I was a bit saddened by some of it because I remember at the time thinking back in 2013. I mean, again, we were school kids, but I was thinking, oh, this is just as good as the first one. I don't think it's just as good as the first one.
Yeah, no,
if I really have to think about it, but
yeah. So that was Anchorman 2, really. Not much to say, really. I feel pretty similar. I enjoyed it though.
I enjoyed it.
We did laugh a lot.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird that seeing. I feel like it does repeat a gag in Anchorman 2 that's in Talladega Nights a little bit, but it does change it. But the whole Will Ferrell thing of I'm disabled in some way, but he's not actually disabled.
Yeah,
like in Talladega Nights, it's the whole like I can't move my legs, and they're like you can. The doctor said you can walk. He's like no, I can't. And then this one, it's like he's blind.
A lot of it feels like scraps from other Adam McKay movies.
Yes, yeah, no, definitely. And then after that, we did a movie that you did a video on recently, which was one of my favourite movies of the past, I don't know, 5 years probably. Under the Silver Lake.
Oh my god, love Under the Silver Lake.
It's fantastic, and it upsets me the people that have called it sexist or whatever.
It surprises me more from people like Commando.
Yes,
because he's usually so on the money. But I can't quite grasp how you could watch this movie and not think it's like a scathing critique of the sort of men that are in the movie.
Yes, I can't fathom how you could, really. I can't understand how you could watch it and not see that is what it's about.
It's the modern Taxi Driver.
100%.
You know, like it's Taxi Driver for the modern man in the digital age.
100%.
And also it just kind of makes you think about the pop culture that you consume and that you buy into, and
it deals with it's very Hitchcockian in the sense of like it deals with the perverse nature of film and pop culture and the obsession, the way we can get obsessed with it and
corporate America. And it feels like the perfect film for a guy that did 2 terrible Amazing Spider-Man movies that was completely kind of shortchanged to do. Yeah. I think it's insanely rewatchable as well. Again, that's the secret to good pacing, isn't it?
Yep.
There's nothing in this movie that I would really cut out, even though it's quite plodding and quite hangout.
No, I agree.
And it goes, I think it's like 2 hours 20.
Yeah. It's a fascinating character. You're watching the whole movie through his eyes, and you don't agree with this guy.
Yeah.
You're watching it through his eyes, like you do with Taxi Driver.
I don't know how you're meant to think you can align with this guy. If nothing else, for the fact that there's a scene where he mercilessly beats some children up.
Yes, yeah.
And that's quite early on in the film, and I feel like that bit is placed quite early on so that if there was any doubt that you're supposed to root for this guy.
They watch a model undress through a drone. They're clearly not good people.
Yeah,
and she's crying.
Yeah,
and they don't really address it. They just talk. The movie's clear. I feel like it's clearly making a point.
It's so unsettling when Topher Grace is singing "Pure Imagination."
It's really unsettling.
And he's like, you gotta be patient, man. But eventually, this girl, she's got an insane body. Just wait till she comes in, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
it's such creepy dudes.
So creepy.
I think you're meant to feel that, aren't you? You're meant to think oh yeah. This is like an incel power fantasy, and it's about this guy solving it. It's about taking that guy and then being like, well, what if all these pop culture pieces of trivia that he obsesses over, that he cares about more than human decency, what if that all linked up and blew the lid wide open on a massive conspiracy? It's fantastic.
And it tricks you as a viewer. It makes you feel dirty because you're looking for the clues in the movie just as much as he's looking for the clues in the universe in that film, and it's like you're falling into the same trap he's doing. And I know that Robert Mitchum said he's placed codes in the film anyway for people to decipher, but I just like that you it's I don't know, it makes you it calls you out on your kind of bullshit as well, and but completely visually, you're never told to feel that way. I just think it's phenomenal. I think David Robert Mitchell is one of the most exciting filmmakers currently at the moment.
100%.
I'm so excited for everything he does next. I think Bong Joon-ho put him on his list of who he thinks directors are going to determine the next stage of films.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
and
fantastic.
if Bong Joon-ho saying that shit, he's the boy. So
yeah,
I
completely agree. Also, I love the idea of him sitting down and watching Under the Silver Lake.
Same.
Love to be a fly on the wall for that.
Yep. And then we did another bug movie, Starship Troopers, Paul Verhoeven.
Still absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. The effects are incredible. The effects are incredible. It's like a parody of like fascism and stuff.
It's a high school movie at the same time.
High school movie.
I love that it's got that Full Metal Jacket thing of like, this half's the training, this half's the war.
Yeah, and you see, because you get this time to spend with the characters, and you generally like these characters, and they're just getting murdered, like brutally slaughtered, and it's hard to you're like, oh fuck, like.
And I'll never forget when I was a kid watching that Brain Bug, and it still creeps me out to this day.
It's horrible. The designs,
it's absolutely
awful. I'm sorry, but like this film, 1997, and the effects look incredible. Yeah, like it's because they blend the CGI and the practical. It looks amazing. It looks so good. I'm still blown away by it. I think it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, and it's an incredibly deep movie that has a lot to say, masquerading as a popcorn B movie.
Yeah, no, literally. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 movies left.
5 movies left.
Yeah. So
okay.
Comes towards the end.
Okay, I think I know what 2 of them are.
Well, the next one, I can't say I didn't have fun with Anaconda. Starring Ice Cube.
I forgot we watched that. And J-Lo and John Voight, I think.
John Voight, who is amazingly camp in this movie. He's having a great time. He ups it. He's having a great time. Yeah.
Really weak female lead. Ineffectual to the plot. Doesn't end up doing anything at the end. J-Lo was done dirty in this one. Ice Cube was done pretty well. I feel like he signed up because he got to kill a giant snake.
Because he got to kill a giant snake.
And John Voight, as you say, he's having so much fun.
Opens quite strong, I felt.
Some of it had quite good direction.
But it's such a mess all round. It's really
also
weird.
I completely forgot Owen Wilson, isn't it?
Yeah, he barely speaks. He just gets taken out. Yeah, it's a weird movie. It's
pretty trashy, but we
knew that. We knew that going. We kind of knew that going in, but we were looking for that kind of. We had a good time. But it's not the best. And then something I was quite surprised by, because I'd never seen it, but Alien Resurrection.
Oh yeah, I forgot we watched that.
I'd never seen it.
That's another one from when I was a kid that I watched on repeat. I watched the whole Alien quadrilogy on loop. So I never really thought. I knew that one was considered the bad one, but you never really think as a kid, do you? In the same
you don't
sense,
care as
you're
much,
you're there for the filth, aren't you? You're there for the aliens.
Exactly.
But I think it actually held up surprisingly well. There's obviously stuff in it that's a tough pill to swallow, like cloning Ripley and having her be a bit superhuman, all this stuff. Like it's a very different direction for the franchise, and it's very odd. And I get why people don't like it.
That's mostly my problem with it.
Yeah,
is that.
But I think if you go with that and you're just like, okay. Yeah. This is all a bit weird. It didn't need a full film. The third film kind of wraps everything up, but we're here now. Let's just watch it. I think there's a lot of fun to be had. There's some really good set pieces. That whole underwater section that ends with the whole ladder sequence.
Fantastic.
Really well constructed. I think as well, just like it's really well paced.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's some cool ideas in it. I don't particularly like the thing at the end. The human alien thing.
Yeah, that's where it jumps the shark.
Yeah, it goes too crazy. But there's some really great scare moments with and I love that it's still practical and I like that bit underwater when they're actually swimming underwater. I thought that was a really clever idea to actually make Alien into Jaws, which was the original pitch, wasn't it?
Also, Ripley, the Ripley clone facet to this movie is rendered completely worth it for that one scene.
Oh right, yeah. That is true, yeah. That is true.
So, that's the thing for me. Like, for everything that's... I'm a bit like, I feel like there's something in it that kind of makes it worth it.
Yeah. I think we enjoyed it a lot more because we were expecting it to be like... Well, I was personally... I've heard so many bad things about it.
Don't get us wrong. Really it's no Alien or Aliens.
No. It's nowhere near. But I've not seen Alien 3. I know it's crazy. I need to watch Alien 3.
It's weird you've seen the fourth one now before.
Yeah, it's really weird. But it was. Yeah, it wasn't.
I think if it wasn't an alien movie,
it would be,
and it was just a standard monster movie in space, I think it'd be regarded a lot higher. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, I think you'd probably be right there.
Like, imagine it was just a movie about they created this woman, they cloned her, because of an alien egg, and then the aliens loose on the station. Like, I think because the thing that's constantly like in your head is this is really weird.
Yes.
The alien.
No, you're right. Yeah, because the sets and that are fucking phenomenal. I was blown away. I kept saying to you, like, these sets are incredible. Like, throughout, I was like, I
think there's loads of memorable moments in it.
Yes,
loads of memorable deaths, like when the commander gets like the back of his head, like when they do that thing where they shoot out their penis tongues. It smacks the back of his head, and then he just sort of like pulls the tissue out and looks at it. Oh, it's horrible.
It's absolutely horrible. Yeah, so that was a surprising one. I get, it's got problems, a lot of problems, but I don't enjoy myself.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with a bit of Ron Perlman.
No, you can't go wrong with Ron Perlman. Then we watched probably a film that's very dear to my heart, which is Everybody Wants Some.
That was a great fun rewatching.
Yeah.
One of my favourite hangout movies.
Same. One of my favourite Linklater movies as well, I think. And it's weird because at the time I watched it, I was like a bit disappointed when I first seen it in the cinema. Not disappointed, but I was like, I feel like it gets a bit repetitive, I felt at the time.
Yeah.
If it repeated itself. And I felt like it didn't. I felt like it wasn't as tight as Days of Confused when I first watched it. But the more I watch this movie, the more it connects with me personally. There's a lot of themes in the movie that I think personally, like, just it really just there's something like in particularly like the whole trying to find where you fit kind of aspect of, you know, he's friends with the jocks because he's on the baseball team, but he's also friends with like the metalheads, and they don't mix, but like he's into all this sort of stuff, and it's about him trying to sort of find who he is. And obviously one of the great moments in the film is when the great is it White Russell?
White Russell,
says about, like, you know, just be you, just embrace your inner weird, and I think that's a great message in the movie, because I think
his whole thread in the movie is heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking.
I also just like that it does capture by the end when he like lays down on his desk for the first lecture, like that feeling of your first time at uni.
So true.
And it's essentially American Freshers Week, isn't it?
Yeah.
We call it Freshers Week here, don't we?
Yeah.
But all the chaos that happens in the movie does feel like that kind of initial first week where you're sort of getting to know everyone,
and and it's all very exciting,
Yeah.
and that kind of, I think that's so true. It really does capture that in the same way that Days of Confused captures the magic of the possibilities of summer. Yeah. This captures, you know, that first week of that exciting new venture you're going on.
This new vestige of freedom that you're about to enjoy. It also, like, I think most movies, when the characters are laughing at something, you don't find it funny. Like, comedy is often derived from, do you know what I mean? Like, you're finding it funny because the characters aren't.
Yeah.
But this one, they're wrecking each other and they're going ham and they're laughing and cracking up and you're laughing with them. And it's
literally.
It's really great.
And there's some really good, like, bromance moments in it. Like, again, like, they feel like proper boys in it. But also a really good study of, like, masculinity as well, I think. And how it can be, and in that sort of environment. It's very, very interesting, and very true. And I think it's very important for people to watch this movie in a lot of ways. I think, I could go on.
I can tell it's something that's dear to you.
Yeah, it really means a lot. I could go on detail, but, you know, you don't want to hear me. But yeah, I really, really love this movie a lot. And then we followed that up with David Rob Mitchell's
It Follows.
It Follows.
Really, really one of my favourite horror films of the last, like, 10 years.
100%.
I just think it loses its way a little bit at the end, but then I kind of think the way they solve the problem is meant to make you think they didn't solve the problem. So at the same time, as much as I'm a bit like, that was a bit of a cop-out, I kind of feel like that's the point.
I know what you mean. It does break its rules a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm just so forgiving of it, because it's got one of the best horror exposition scenes, I think, ever.
Well, you were saying when we watched it, try and imagine that you know nothing about this movie again, and just think about how well constructed it is. And it is, like, the way it gives you so many questions in the first couple of scenes, and when the two characters are on a date and he talks about, you know, like, wishing he was that child so he could start again, and, you know, like, and I think as well, the thing that really creeps me out about it is you get to see the monster from certain perspectives, but it's just as scary as when you're following it from the perspective of a character who doesn't know where the monster is. Because you're like, oh shit, like, you can't fathom. Also, got one of the greatest, I wouldn't say it's a jump scare, but when one of those characters is in the corridor and the monster comes up behind them.
That is horrifying.
The sound design there is fantastic.
It's horrible. The soundtrack from Disaster Piece is incredible, as is in Under Silver Lake. Yeah. And I also feel like the scene that always creeps me out the most is right at the start when they're in is it the cinema or the theatre?
Yes.
And he goes, "You cannot see that girl, the yellow dress."
Yep.
She's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yep.
Oh, every time it sends shivers up me. Yep. And it does that thing that the Matrix does, where it sets you up so much. You're frothing for these answers so much that there's no way that this exposition that they're going to give is going to be just as interesting.
Yeah.
And oh wait, no, he pulls around in this wheelchair, and it's just as scary and just as horrible as you could possibly imagine. I just think it's fantastic. Like for me, it kind of set off almost like a new wave of horror movies, and I feel like this decade, I think we got treated to some real good horrors. I think in a bit of a resurgence way. I think we've had some really
between
good
David Robert Mitchell, Ari Aster, and Jordan Peele.
Yeah,
we're covered.
Yeah, literally, fantastic. And I'd even chuck like Robert Eggers in there as well. And
oh, sorry, yeah.
No, literally.
How could I forget?
Literally, like
I saw The Lighthouse at the BFI Film Festival, and the screening was really cold, and that really made it probably one of the best horror screenings I've ever had.
Oh, that's great.
Because like obviously the whole film is like windy and wet and cold, and
you want to feel like even watching it, you feel cold, you feel windy, you feel like you're in that environment with them.
So definitely it felt like I was in 4DX, The Lighthouse.
Brilliant. But yeah, It Follows, fantastic. Really like that movie a lot. Gets better every time I watch it as well. And then we're on to the last film that we've watched, which was Princess Mononoke, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, the monster designs were incredible.
Yep. Violence really well done. Yeah, and I just loved the idea of like people versus gods. I'm always very into that. Yes.
The only thing I think falls a bit flat on is I think the love story's a bit weak, but then I don't know how much you're really meant to get from that.
Yeah. I kind of bought that. I always felt like throughout, I felt like they were like more like. It was more like mates to me, like really good friends, and I find it kind of weird that aspect, that love aspect.
It felt to me more of like a sort of a crush story of like this is the first time they've really felt anything for another person.
Yeah, because they're quite young, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah. Which makes it's a bit Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, there's some really cool ideas like in it. Yeah, no, we said like after we watched it, we were shocked with like the way they do some of the violence, like the way because we didn't know that it gets gory, like. I've seen other Studio Ghibli movies, but I didn't realise this one was going to have like blood and shit.
Yeah.
So when you first track over that war zone, and the guy, I'm like, hold on a minute, is his head come off? I was like, wait a minute. And then the following scene is him blasting someone's head off with an arrow. Yeah. It was like, whoa! Yeah. And that's a prime example of what we were talking about earlier about using violence in a good way. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was, fantastic.
I really like that the first time you see a bit of gore is in like a wide shot.
Yes.
So it makes you think like, oh wait, hang on a minute. Yeah. That guy just loses his arm. Oh, now we're in close-ups and this is all, chaos is ensuing. Yeah, fantastic.
No, really good. Some really nice themes as well, and just some great ideas in general. Like they're kind of fighting for the
Also, I think it taps into that kind of Christopher Reeve, Chris Evans thing of this main character is so good.
Yes.
But that's what makes them so interesting. And that's why you're so behind them, because, you know, any situation where you might have wavered, they stayed true to themselves.
Yes. Definitely.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, really, really enjoyed it.
Is that the last one?
Yeah, I mean...
You did well, yeah. I mean, I think it'd actually be quite pertinent to mention this one because I think it's funny that we started off with a film that I fell asleep watching.
That is true. We can finish with it.
Yeah. So we watched the original Japanese Ringu last night, and you finished it, didn't you?
Yes, I finished it.
I fell asleep. So I'm gonna have to finish that today after we record this. So I can't really give my review on it. But what we were watching, I was
to be fair, we did have a few beers, and it does knock you out for one, doesn't it? When you have a few beers and sitting down, it's difficult to stay awake, but
Charlie's dad came round to visit, and John supplied us with some beers. How can we say no, really?
For cold ones as well. Like, I could just,
he knew what we needed.
To a lovely bud. It's not like we're selling out for Budweiser. But yeah, no. So a seminal movie from watching it. This was the first time I'd actually seen it, and I thought the scares, like no one does it like Japan. Like they just understand the tension of it.
Yeah.
And it does that thing, and in the film that we like and scares us the most in horrors, which is we don't necessarily get scared by jump scares, do we? But what we do get scared of is people just being in the background, and it really horrified me, and particularly the video footage of the camera looking up from the well. Oh my fucking
god! That person on the other side.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, that was burned into my retinas.
No, yeah.
Oh man, I got to finish this movie.
No, it gets. I really like where it goes. I don't want to say too much because my only issue would be I think it's a bit of an exposition dump at times. Sometimes you kind of
like the opening. Yeah, but then I do think it gets away with it.
Yeah, but there is a couple of scenes like later on.
Okay.
That they're kind of like they're kind of just explaining the research they found through doing the detective work, and I'm kind of like,
I see.
I'm really intrigued to watch the others as well.
Yeah. How many is there?
So there's Ring 1 and 2. So
there's one called Rings,
2,
isn't there?
and then there's the American remake, which I've heard the American remake's really good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna watch that. And then there's apparently Ringu 2 is really good.
Okay.
Yeah, but overall, I really enjoyed it. The scares horrified me. So we'll see.
I think that's everything, isn't there? And then there's a few things we watched separately.
Yeah. But I'll probably do that in the other podcast.
Your favourite film was awful. Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest.
We've done.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, same.
I can't remember. I think I watched The Big Short, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I like The Big Short. There you go. If you wanted to know what I think of The Big Short,
Big Short's great. Also, shout out to Vice. I think it's underrated. I think I don't get what people hate on it. I think it's great.
Do you want to give out your letterboxd and your socials?
It's a great idea.
Nice little plug at the end.
That is a great idea. So if you guys want to follow me on Letterboxd, I believe my name is just Charlie Lilly. Charlie Lilly. So that's
how would you spell that?
Lilly. Charlie Lilly. I believe that is literally just my profile. I think
I'm.
Yeah, it is.
Matt Whittle. No spaces. No whatever. Capital M. Capital W. MATTWHITTLE.
Yeah, so follow us if you want to see what.
Or would it be at Full Fat Videos?
Let me have a look.
I think that's the Twitter handle.
Yeah, that's the Twitter handle. Yeah, it should be Matt Will.
Okay, so yeah, Matt Will or at Full Fat Videos. I mean, and you can follow us on Twitter as well at Full Fat Videos, and on Instagram. I think sure that's at full_fat_videos. Yep. I really should know these handles.
But if you want to, so go follow Full Fat Videos. But also check out Your Favourite Film Was Awful on Twitter. We are at Fave Film Was Awful, and then we are Your Favourite Film Was Awful on Facebook, Instagram, and
Bebo, MySpace,
wherever you get your podcasts. We're literally on all platforms, so please check us out if you.
I love that. Wherever you get your podcasts, it's just a thing, isn't it? Everyone says it.
Wherever you get your podcasts, can't list them all. There's so many.
It's just so. It feels so anti-PR to me.
I know
when you listen
mean.
to an advert on the radio and they just go, "Get it wherever you get your podcasts."
Yeah,
like, can you imagine that with anything else?
It is true, yeah.
Tenet in cinemas now. Tenet wherever you watch movies.
Wherever you watch movies. Brilliant.
Wherever you get your movies. Wherever you get The Simpsons.
But yeah, check us out. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Castbox, you name it. You know, if you want to go through them. But yeah,
fantastic. I'm glad we got through all these.
No, same.
Pretty mammoth. But
yeah, we did quite a lot. And then next we just hopefully soon we'll be back on to talk about Tenet. I hope so. Yeah. I mean, what are we doing? Maybe tell the ladies and gents what we're seeing next week at the drive-through cinemas. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. So we're going to a drive-through, our first ever one. I've never been.
It's not a big thing in Britain, is it?
It's not, because the weather's shit usually, so we don't really get it. But thankfully, one of the the positive thing that's come out of this situation is that there's loads of drive-ins being made, and we're going to see The Terminator on July 5th.
And then we're seeing Batman Begins on July 7th.
Yeah, Batman Begins.
Very excited about both of those.
Double bill there.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
No, it's going to be sick. I'm very excited for that.
How should we sign this off? Do you want to give your rendition of Love Lockdown? I feel like you stitched me up to make me do it. So
Do you have to do the whole thing? Do I just do the chorus?
Do any part of it you want.
I can't remember the bit. There's a start. It's like, I'm not loving you. Yeah, I wanted to go. What I had to do, had to run from you. That one.
That felt embarrassing.
Yeah,
I'll accept that. Yeah. You can do a bit of the chorus.
My love lockdown. Yeah, sign me. My label is for if you want to sign me up to sing. I know it was great.
It was great. Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
definitely.
Very much like Celine Dion. I thought.
Yeah, well, a lot of people say that.
Do they?
Yeah. I actually think that's what spurred her on.
So do I. Yeah. Because it was nothing vicious.
Nothing vicious. Oh no, we've gone full Brent.
Thank you for watching another full fat video. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit the bell if you'd like to see more breakdowns of movies, TV and more. A big thank you to our full fat tier patrons, Dr. Chike, Jax Merrick and Mike Nandu. You the boys. Until next time, keep it full fat.